Hola, gente linda. Hello, beautiful people. Hola is hello in Spanish, and gente linda means beautiful people in Spanish. I am Nelly Sri. My goal for my YouTube channel is to study the topics for the licensed clinical social worker exam together and share this material with someone who may need it. First, I would like to share a quote to continue to be inspired and motivated to carry on with this journey. We will start studying Vygotsky Sociocultural Theory of Connective Development. And this is my first video reviewing this theory. Here is the link to the article that we will read in this video. Here it is from Simply Psychology. I will post the link to this article under the video for your review at your convenience. Finally, thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. If you like to receive a notification when I upload a video, please subscribe and don't forget to like this video so we can all maximize the gift of the technology at this time. I also get motivated and inspired to get with this crazy idea of studying together for LCSW exam. Adios, mi gente linda, and many blessings. And here is the quote that I'd like to share with you. Don't limit your challenges. Challenge your limits. Each day, we must strive for constant and never-ending improvement by Tony Robbins. Again, don't limit your challenges. Challenging your limits. Each day, we must strive for a constant and never-ending improvement. Nice quote. Each day, we really had to work for improvement and be consistent, and it's hard to be consistent, but we'll try the best. We'll go to the article. We'll read it together. Vygotsky's Sociocultural Theory of Connective Development. So, this Vygotsky, maybe it's Vygotsky theory. The work of Vygotsky from 1934 to 1978 has become the foundation of much research and theory in connective development over the past several decades, particularly what has become known as a sociocultural theory. Vygotsky theory comprises concepts such as cultural specific tools, private speech, and the zone of proximal development. Vygotsky believed connected development is influenced by cultural and social factors. He emphasized the role of social interaction in the development of mental abilities, speech, and reasoning in children. Vygotsky strongly believed that community plays a central role in the process of making meaning. Connected development is socially mediated process in which children acquire cultural values, beliefs, problem-solving strategies through collaborative dialogues with more knowledgeable members of society. The more knowledgeable other is someone who has a higher level of ability or greater understanding than the learner regarding a particular task, process, or concept. The more knowledge other can be a teacher, parent, coach, or even a peer who provides guidance and modeling to enable the child to learn skills within their zone of proximal development. The gap between what child can do independently and what they can achieve with guidance. The interactions with more knowledgeable others significantly increases not only the quantity of information and the number of skills as a child develops, but also affects the development of higher order mental functions such as formal reasoning. Vygotsky argued that higher mental ability could only develop through interaction with more advanced others. According to Vygotsky, adults in society foster children connective development by engaging them in challenging meaningful activities. Adults convey to children how their culture interprets and responds to the world. They show the meaning they attach to objects, events, experience. They provide the child with what to think, the knowledge, and how to think, the process, the tools to think with. Vygotsky theory encourages collaboration and cooperative learning between children and teachers or peers. Scaffolding and reciprocal teaching are effective educational strategies based on Vygotsky ideas. Scaffolding involves the teacher providing support, a structure to help students master skills just beyond their current level. In reciprocal teaching, teachers and students take turns leading discussion using strategies like summarizing and clarifying. Both scaffolding and reciprocal teaching emphasize the shared construction of knowledge in line with Vysgotsk's views. Vygotsky highlighted the importance of language in connected development. Inner speech is used for mental reasoning, and external speech is used to converse with others. This operation occurs separately. Indeed, before age 2, a child employs words socially. They possess no internal language. Once thought a language merge, however, the social language is internalized and assists the child with the reasoning. Thus, the social environment is ingrained with the child's learning. Effects of culture. Vygotsky emphasized the role of social environment in the child's cognitive development. Vygotsky claimed that infants are born with the basic abilities for intellectual development called elementary mental functions. Speech focused on motor, reflex, and sensory ability. This development through the first 2 years of life due to direct environment contact. Elementary mental functions include attention, sensation, perception, memory. Eventually, through interaction with the sociocultural environment, these are developed into more sophisticated and effective mental processes, which Vygotsky referred to as higher mental functions, higher mental function. Tools for intellectual adaptation. Each culture provides its children with tools of intellectual adaptation that allow them to use basic mental functions more effectively and adaptively. Tools of intellectual adaptation is Vygotsky terms for methods of thinking and problem solving that children internalize through social interactions with a more knowledgeable member of society. For example, memory in young children is limited by biological factors. However, culture determines the type of memory strategy we develop. For example, in Western culture, children learn not taking to a memory. But in pre-literature society, other strategies must be developed, such as typing notes in a string to remember carrying peoples or repeating the names of ancestors until a large number can be repeated. Vygotsky therefore sees connective functions, even those carried out alone, as affected by the beliefs, values, tool, or intellectual adaptation of the culture in which a person developed and therefore social culturally determined. Therefore, intellectual adaptation tools vary from culture to culture, as is in memory example. Social influences on connective development. Like Pigeon, Vygotsky believed that young children are curious, actively involved in their own learning, discovering, developing new understandings, schemas. However, Vygotsky emphasized social contributions to development process where pigeons emphasize in self-initiative discovery. According to Vygotsky, much important learning by the child occurs through social interaction with a skillful tutor. The tutor may model behaviors and provide verbal instruction for the child. Vygotsky refers to this as a cooperative or collaborative dialogue. The child seeks to understand the actions or instructions provided by the tutor, often the parent or teacher, and then internalizes the information, using to guide or regulate their performance. Schaffer, 1996, gives the example of young girls giving her first jigsaw alone. She performs poorly and attempted to solve the puzzle. The father then sits with her and describes and demonstrates some basic strategies, such as finding all the corner edges pieces, provide a couple of pieces for the child to put together herself, and offers encouragement when she does so. As the child becomes more competent, the father allows the child to work more independently. According to Vygotsky, this social interaction involving cooperative or collaborative dialogues promotes cognitive development. To understand Vygotsky's theory on connective development, one must understand two of the main principles of Vygotski's work, the moral knowledgeable order and the zone of proximal development. More knowledgeable order. The more knowledgeable order is someone self-explanatory. It refers to someone who has a better understanding or higher ability level than the learner concerning a particular task, process, or concept. As so, the implication is that the more knowledgeable order is a teacher or an older adult. This is not necessarily the case. Often, a child's peer or an adult's children may be individuals with more knowledge or experience. For example, who is more likely to know more about the newest teenage music group, how to win the most recent PlayStation games, or how to correctly perform the new dance grades? A child or their parents. In fact, the more knowledgeable other need not to be a person at all. To support employees in the learning process, some companies are now using electronic performance to support systems. Electronic tutors are also being used in educational settings to facilitate a guide students through learning. The key, the more knowledgeable others, is that they must have or be programmed with more knowledge about the topic being learned than the learners does. Son of proximal development. The concept of more knowledgeable others relates to the second important principle of Vygotsky work, the zone of proximal development. This important concept relates to the difference between what a child can achieve independently and what a child can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner. Vygotsky consequently focused much more closely on social interaction as an aid to learning. arguing that left alone, children will develop but not to their full potential. It refers to the gap between actual and potential learning as the zone of proximal development, and argues that it's only through collaboration with adults and other learners that this gap can be bridged. So here is the zone, proximal development, and scaffolding. Knowledge of others, technology, and tools. What I can learn on my own, and what I can learn with help. That's the zone, proximal development. Okay? Beyond my reach. The zone of proximal development is the gap between the level of actual development, what the child can do on his own, and the level of potential development, what a child can do with assistance of more advanced and competent individuals. Social interaction, therefore, supports the child connective development in ZPD, which is the zone proximal development, this one, zone PDC, leading to a higher level of reasoning. It is generally believed that social dialogues have two important futures. The first is intersubjectivity, where two individuals who might have different understanding of a task arrive and share understanding by adjusting to the perspective of others. The second feature is referred to as scaffolding. Adults may begin with direct instruction, but as children mastering a task increases, so the adults tend to withdraw their own contribution and recognition of the child's increasing successes. For example, the child could not solve the jigsaw puzzle in the example above by himself and would have taken a long time to do so if it is at all, but was able to solve it following interaction with the father, has developed competence and this skill that will apply for future jigsaws. The CPD, which is the zone proximal development, is the zone where instruction is the most beneficial, and it is when the task is just beyond the individual's capabilities. To learn, we must present it with tasks just our ability range. Challenging tasks promote maximum connective growth. As a result of shared dialogues with more knowledgeable others who provide hints, instructions, and encouragement. The child can internalize the how to do it, part of the task as part of their inner or private speech. The child can then use on later occasions when they tackle similar tasks on their own. Vygotsky 97A sees the zone of proximal development as the area where the most sensitive instruction and guidance should be given. Allowing the child to develop a skill they will then use their own, developing higher mental functions. Vygotsky also views peer interaction as an effective way of developing skills and strategies. He suggests that teachers use cooperative learning exercise where less competent children develop with help more skillful peers with the zone of proximal development. Evidence for Vygotsky and the ZPD. Freund in 1990 conducted a study in which children had to decide which items of furniture should be placed in particular areas of adults' house. Some children were allowed to play with their mother in a similar situation before they attempted allow some proximal development, while others were allowed to work on this by themselves, Peach's discovery learning. Freund found that those who had previously worked with their mother, CPD, showed the greatest improvement compared with their first attempt at the task. The conclusion is that guided learning with the CPD led to greater understanding, performance than working alone and discovering learning. Vygotsky and language. Vygotsky believed that language develops from social interaction for communication purposes. Vygotsky viewed language as man's greatest tool for communicating with the outside world. According to Vygotsky, language plays two critical roles in connected development. First, it's the main means by which adults transmit information to children. Second, language itself becomes a very powerful tool for intellectual adaptation. Vygotsky, 1987, differentiates between three forms of language: social speech, which is external communication used to talk to others, typical from the age of 2; private speech, typical from the age of 3, which is directed to self and serve an intellectual function. Private speech goes underground, diminishing in audibility as it takes as a self-regulating function in transform and is transformed into silent inner speech typical from the age of 7. For Vygotsky, so a language initially separated system from the beginning of life, merging around 3 years of age. At this point, speech and thought become interdependent. Thought becomes verbal, and speech becomes representational. As children develop mental representation, particularly the skill of language, they start to communicate with themselves in much the same way as they communicate with others. When this happens, children monologues are internalized to become inner speech. The internalization language most is important and as it drives connected development. Inner speech is not the interior speech of external speech. It's a function in itself, it still remains speech, so connected with words. But while in the external speech so is embodied in words, an inner speech word dies as they bring forth thought. Inner speech is to a large extent thinking in pure meaning. Private speech. Vygotsky was the first psychologist to document the importance of private speech. He considered private speech as the transition point between social and inner speech, the moment in development where language and thought unite to constitute verbal thinking. Thus, Vygotsky viewed private speech was the early manifestation of inner speech. Indeed, private speech is more similar in foreign function to inner speech than social speech. Private speech is typically defined in contrast to the social speech, as speech addresses to self, not to others, for the purpose of self-regulation rather than communication. Private speech is over, audible, and observable, often seen in children who talk to themselves while problem solving. Conservatively, inner speech is covered or hidden because it happens internally. It is the silent international dialogue the adult often engage in while thinking in or problem solving. In contrast to Piaget's 1959 notion of private speech representing a developmental dead end, Vygotsky from 1934-1987 viewed private speech as a revolution in development, which is triggered the preverbal, so and peri-intellectual languages come together to create fundamental new form of mental functioning. In addition to disagree on the functional significance of private speech, Vygotsky and Piaget also offer opposite view in development, course of private speech and the environment circumstances in which occur most often. Okay, here is the chart. Theory prediction, Piaget, Vygotsky. Theory development, significance of private speech. Pigeon represent inability to take the perspective of another and therefore to engage my truly relationship and reciprocal communication. Vygotsky represents externalized thought and its function to communicate with the self for the purpose of self-guidance and self-directions. Theoretical predictions. Course of development. PJ declines monotonically with age. Vygotsky, curvilinear, increasing the younger ages, but gradually decreases as it loses as audible quality and becomes internal thought. Theoretical prediction, relation to social speech. Pigeon, negative, eventually relapse by social speech. Positive at the younger age. Theory predictions, influences of environmental context, tax difficulty. And there is no pigeon and Vygotsky increase with task difficulty, the greater effort needed to reach a solution necessary, the action regulate role of the private speech. Differential prediction of pigeons because the theory. Okay, so here is the source. Through private speech, children collaborate with themselves in the same way a more knowledgeable other collaborated with them to achieve a given function. Vygotsky sees private speech as a means for children to plan activities and strategies aiding their development. Private speech is the use of languages for self-regulation behavior. Therefore, language accelerates thinking, understanding. Jeremy Brunet also views language in this way. Vygotsky believed that children who engage in large amount of private speech are more socially competent than children who do not exercise it. Vygotsky, in 1987, notes that private speech does not merely accompany a child's activity, but acts as tool the development child use to facilitate connective processes such as overcoming task obstacles, enhancing imagination, thinking, conscious awareness. Children use private speech most often during intermediate difficult tasks because they tend to self-regulate by verbally planning and organizing their thought. Winsler, 2007. The frequency and context of private speech correlate with behavior or performance. For example, private speech appears functionally related to cognitive performance. It appears at times of difficulty with tasks. For example, tasks related to executive function. Training Hall, Friendly 2005. Problem solving tasks. Schoolwork in both languages and mathematics. Berg, 1986, provide empirical support for the notion of private speech. She found that most private speech exhibited by children serves to describe or guide the child's action. Berg also discovered that children engage in private speech more often when working alone on challenging tasks and when their teacher was not immediately available to help them. Furthermore, Berg also found the private speech develops similarly in all children regardless of cultural background. Therefore, it's also evidence, the Berended 92, that those children who display the characteristics, whispering and lip movement associated with private speech when faced with difficult tasks were generally more attentive and successfully than their quieter classmates. Vygotsky proposed the private speech is a product of an individual's social environment. This hypothesis is supported by the fact that there exists high positive correlation between rates of social interactions and private speech in children. Children raised in connectively and linguistically simulating environment situation more frequently occur in higher socioeconomic status families, start using and internalizing private speech faster than children from less privileged backgrounds. Indeed, children raised in an environment characterized by low verbal social exchanges exhibit delays in private speech development. Children's use of private speech diminishes as they grow older and follows as a curvilinear trend. This is due to changes in ontogenic development, whereby children can internalize language through inner speech to self-regulate their behavior. For example, research has shown that children's private speech usually peaks at 3 to 4 years of age, decrease 6 to 7, gradually fade out to be mostly internalized by age 10, DS92. Vygotsky proposed that private speech diminishes and disappears with age, not because socialized as a Pillo suggested, but because it goes underground to constitute inner speech or verbal soul. Education implications. Vygotsky approach to child development is a form of social constructivism based on the idea of connected functions are the product of social interaction. Social constructivism posits that knowledge is constructed and learning occurs through social interactions with a culture. Historical context. Vygotsky emphasized the collaborative nature of learning by constructing knowledge through social negotiation. He rejects the assumption made by Piaget that it's possible to separate learning from his social context. Vygotsky believed everything is learned on two levels. First, through interaction with others, then integrating into individual mental structure. Every function of the child's cultural development appears twice, first on the social level and later on the individual level. First between people interpsychological and then inside the child intrapsychological. This applies equally to voluntary attention, to logical memory, to the formation of concepts. Also, higher functions originates as an actual relationship between individuals. Teaching styles grounded in constructivism represent a deliberate shift from traditional didactic and memory-oriented transmission model to a more student-centered approach. Traditionally, schools have failed to foster an environment when students actively participate in their own and their peers process, peers education. Vygotsky theory, however, calls for both the teacher and students to assume non-traditional roles as they engage in collaborative learning. Rather than having a teacher impose their understanding to students for future recitation, the teacher should create meaning with students in a manner that allows learners to take ownership. For instance, a student and teacher might start a task with varying level of expertise and understanding as they adapt to each other's perspective. The teacher must articulate their insight in a way that the student can comprehend, leading the student to a fuller understanding of the task concept. The student can be internalized the task operational aspect, how to do it, into their inner speech or private dialogue. Vygotsky referred to this reciprocal understanding adjustment process is intersubjectivity. TPD. Because Vygotsky asserts that connected changes occur with the zone of proximal development, instruction would be designed to reach the developmental level, just about the success current developmental level. Vygotsky proclaims learning which is oriented toward development levels that have already been reached is inefficient from the viewpoints of children overall development. It does not aim for new stage of development process, but rather lags behind the process. Appropriation is necessary for connected development within the zone of proximal development. Individuals participating in peer collaboration or guided teacher instruction must share the same focus to access the zone proximal development. Joint attention and shared problem solving is needed to create processes of connected and social interchange. Hans Farther 1996. Furthermore, it's essential that the partners be on different developmental levels on the higher level partner. Be aware of the lower level. If this does not occur or one partner dominates the interaction, is less successful. Hartford 96. Vygotsky theory also fed into current interest in collaborative learning, suggesting the ground members should have different level of ability. More advanced peer can help less advanced member operate within the CPD. Scaffolding and reciprocal teaching are effective strategies to access the zone proximal development. Reciprocal teaching. A contemporary educational application of Vygotsky theory is reciprocal teaching, using to improve student ability to learn from text. In this method, teachers and students collaborate in learning, practicing four skills: summarizing, questioning, clarify, predicting. The teacher's role in the process reduces over time. Reciprocal teaching allows for the creation of dialogue between students and teachers. These two ways communication between an instructional strategy by encouraging students to go beyond answering questions and engage the discourse. A study conducted by Brown and Paliskar in 1989 demonstrated that Vygotsky approach with reciprocal teaching method a successful program to teach reading strategy. The teacher and student alternated turns leading a small group, discussing on reading. After modeling four reading strategies, students become to assume the teaching role. The results show significant gains over the instructional strategies. Recall Hunter 96-94. Recall. Connected guided instruction and other strategies to implement the Vygotsky theory. This strategy involves the teacher and student exploring math problems when sharing the problem-solving strategy in an open dialogue. Based on Vygotsky theory, the physical classroom would provide clustered desks or table, workshop for peer instruction, collaboration, and small group instruction. Learning becomes a reciprocal experience for the student and teacher, like the environment, the instructional design of material to be learned will be structured to promote encouraging student interaction and collaboration. Thus, the classroom become a community learning. And then comes the scaffolding. Also, Vygotsky theory of connected development learning is relevant to the instructional concepts such as scaffolding, an apprenticeship in which a teacher or more advanced peer helps to structure or arrange a task so that kind of bees can work on it successfully. A teacher's role is to identify each individual's current level of development and provide them with proximate opportunity to cross their CPD. A crucial element in this process is the use of what later become known as scaffolding. The way in which the teacher provides students with framework and experience with which encourage them to extend their existing schemata and incorporate new skills, competences, and understanding. Scholden described the conditions that support child learning to move from what they already know to new knowledge and ability. Scholden requires the teacher to allow students to extend their current skill and knowledge. During scaffolding, the support offered by an adult or more knowledgeable other gradually decreases as the child becomes more skilled in the task. As, a, as the adult withdraw their help, the child assumes more of the strategic planning and eventually gains competence to master similar problems with a teacher's aid or a more knowledgeable peer. It is important to know that this is more simple instruction. Learning experience might be presented in such a way as to actively challenge existing mental structure, provide frameworks for learning. 5 ways in which an adult can scaffold a child's learning. Engaging with the child's interest. Maintaining the child's interest in the task. Avoiding distraction and providing clear understanding how to start the task. Keeping the child's frustration under control by super, supportive interaction, adapting instructions according to where the child is struggling. Emphasize the important feature of task, demonstrating the task, showing the child how to do the task in simple, clear steps. As the child progresses through the CPD, the necessary scaffolding level declines from 5 to 1. The teacher must engage student interest, simplify tasks to be manageable, and motivate students to pursue the instructional goal. In addition, the teacher must look for discrepancies between a student's efforts and the solution, control frustration and risk, and model and idealized version of the act. Challenges to traditional teaching methods. Vygotsky social development theory challenges traditional teaching methods. Historical schools have been organized around recitation teaching. The teacher disseminates knowledge to be memorized by the student, who turn recite information to the teacher. However, the study described about offer empirical evidence that learning based on the social development theory facilitates connected development over other instructional strategies. The structure of our school does not reflect the rapid changes our society is experiencing. The structure and integration of computer technology in society has tremendously increased the opportunity for social interaction. Therefore, the social context for learning is transforming as well. Whereas collaboration and peer instruction were one of only possible is shared physically, the space learning relationship can now be formed from distance through cyberspace. Computer technology is a cultural tool the student can use to mediate and internalize their learning. Recent research suggests changing the learning content with technology is a powerful learning activity. If a school continues to resist structural change, students will be ill prepared for the world by daily. Critical evaluation. Vygotsky work has not received the same level of intensive scrutiny that Piaget has, partly due to the time-consuming process of translating Vygotsky work from Russia. Oh, I see. Vygotsky's social-cultural perspective does not provide as much specific hypothesis to the test of Piaget theory, making refutation difficult if it's not impossible. Perhaps the main criticism of Vygotsky's work concerns the assumption that it's relevant to all culture. Rogers, 1999, diminishes the idea of Vygotsky idea are cultural universal, and instead states the scaffolding, heavily dependent on over instruction, may not be equally useful in all cultures for all types of learning. Indeed, in some instances, observation and practice may be more effective way of learning certain skills. There is much emphasis on social interaction and culture, but many of other aspect development are neglected, such as the importance of emotional factor, the toys of success, and the disappointment and frustration of failure acts as motivation for learning. Vygotsky emphasized social-cultural factors as the aspect of biological influence on cognitive development. This theory cannot explain why cross-cultural studies have showed that stages of development, except the formal operational stage, occur in the same order in all cultures, suggesting the cognitive development is product of a biological process maturation. Vygotsky, therefore, has been applied successfully to education. Scaffolding has been shown to be an effective way of teaching, and based on the theory, teachers are trained to guide children from what they can do the next step in the learning through careful scaffolding. Collaborative work is also used in classroom, mixing children different level of ability to make use of reciprocal teaching. And then we're gonna go for that. So I'm almost in the end of this video. I just don't want to have it too long. Thank you, my dear people. We are now with this a theory, the Russian theory. It's kind of difficult concept, and somehow we'll review it again. I just wanted to stop because this video is getting too long, and hopefully you will enjoy the videos of my channel. Thank you. God bless you, people.